Hey everyone, I'm Critbuff with Planet Destiny, here today with a review of the Hunter exotic armor piece, the Shards of Galanor. This infamous exotic comes with the trait Sharp Edges. Hits and kills with Blade Barrage will return super energy after the super ends. As of the time of this video, the shards are a random exotic drop, so getting them will all come down to luck. This perk works by applying a buff called Super Restoring to your character after you finish casting Blade Barrage. The longer the duration of the buff, the more super energy you'll get back. A quick and important note. You'll need to stay alive for the buff's full duration to get the most out of this exotic, so don't cast Blade Barrage if you're not sure you'll live long enough afterwards. The timer linked to the buff can also be fairly inaccurate, as it rounds down to the nearest second. So while it may say you're only getting 2 seconds of the super refreshing buff, you could actually be getting closer to 3 seconds. This exotic is currently the exotic of choice for hunters using the Way of a Thousand Cuts subclass in every playlist. The super energy the Sharp Edges trait returns allows you to cast Blade Barrage significantly more often than you normally could. This turns into a snowball effect of chaining supers during PvE content to significantly improve your chances for success. In the background footage playing now, you can see me generate 28 orbs fighting the adds during the final fight in the Hollowed Layer Strike as an example of what I'm talking about. This exotic performs well in PvP too, often returning nearly your full super bar if you can score multiple kills with your super. Guardians who use Blade Barrage to shut down roaming supers will also find this exotic useful, as getting any super energy back after that is a big benefit. If you find yourself repeatedly Blade Barraged by the same hunter in the Crucible throughout a match, then this exotic is probably to blame. Whether or not you should use the shards in Gambit will depend on what your role as a Gambit player is. If you prefer to invade, then you can use Blade Barrage on the enemy team and begin regenerating your super afterwards in case you need it again for PvE or another invasion. It also pulls double duty as a very reliable means to clear waves of enemies quickly, provided you can properly manage your positioning and timing. It can also come in clutch when shutting down an overly confident invader who prematurely casts their super. The Sharp Edges perk itself is wildly inconsistent in the amount of super energy it returns after using your Blade Barrage. I tested the shards on the same pack of Unlucky Scorn at the beginning of the Kingship Docks Lost Sector on the Tangled Shore repeatedly. My goal was to see if I could come up with at least a base amount of super energy returned for the damage done. Despite doing this with my hunter at the same power level each time on the same group of enemies, the shards never returned the same amount of super energy. One time would reward less than a full second's worth of the buff, while the next one would grant more than 2 seconds. I couldn't even count on the number of orbs generated as any kind of indicator either, since the same pack always rewarded 2 orbs. This inconsistency was, ironically, consistent when I began testing this exotic on other preset groups of enemies in other lost sectors. If I had to summarize this exotic's effectiveness in one sentence, I would say this. The shards enable you to use Blade Barrage more often for using your super when it was intended in PvE and PvP. It's consistent and inconsistent at the same time. It's consistent in that it will reward you with super energy for killing challenging opponents and large groups of weaker enemies, while also being inconsistent in the amount of super energy it returns for this effort each time. That's it for today's review. I want to thank you for watching. If you're still missing the Shards of Galanor from your collection, then I wish you the best of luck in your hunt for this exotic. It's really top tier, and it'll change your game. Goodbye for now, and have a great day.